Hiya, welcome to video 2. So we moved on, we're now on page 17 of the brochure, and I introduced to you Tiger Lily and Minty. So this is Tiger Lily, who's a beautiful dusky pink. She is limited to 400 pieces, 100% mohair and 11 inches. She is a wobble jointed bear. When we say wobble jointed, what that basically means is that we've loosened off a normal joint. And the idea of that is that they have a little bit more fragility, they need to be looked after. So this is Tiger Lily, who is beautiful. Now we actually designed her to go with Minty. So this is Minty, her brother, and Minty is kind of a mint green and like a grey green panda almost, and he actually wears his bells. Now, Minty is limited to 500 pieces, where Tiger Lily is only limited to 400 pieces. So I would think that Tiger Lily is going to be probably harder to find than Minty is. So that's those two little ones, who are both beautiful, both wobble jointed, and both stand around about between, Minty is actually slightly smaller at 9.5 inches, so you can see. It's actually little brother. So that's those two. Absolutely beautiful. Then we have the two that I know you've all seen. It's Lullaby and Serenade. These two are just beautiful. Unfortunately, on our last show on QVC, we didn't have a great deal of time to speak about them. Now the idea with these two is that they've both been made of sparse Schulte mohair. And what I mean by sparse Schulte mohair, I'm just going to come up to the camera a little bit and just show you exactly what I mean by that. So you can actually see the backing on that, and that is the sparse mohair. But again, on Serenade, the reason that we've done that is because the backing is actually made of a blue, very light blue material. So it's actually perfect for what we wanted to create from this particular bear, because it gives this beautiful look to the nose. So they're both exactly the same, both wobble jointed, they both wear beautiful accessories, which are these kind of handmade accessories here. Do you know, so many people ask us where we actually buy our accessories from, and in fact what we do is we actually create the accessory for the bear. So that's exactly what we do. So all of these accessories are also handmade. So that's those two. Those two are both limited to only 450 pieces, and they're both 10.5 inches in size, so they are absolutely both sisters. So that's those two. Beautiful, beautiful bears, and been ever so popular. We've got many emails about these two bears, so they might be quite hard to find. So next, we're going to move on to Monroe. Now you may see, as I stated before, my doggy, because at the moment Saskia is using Monroe as a pillow. So just bear with me a second. Sorry Saskia, I've just pinched your pillow. She just looked at me very disgusted. So this is Monroe, who is a big old bear. He wears a beautiful ribbon around his neck, and he also has a lovely heart pendant on there, which is almost like a bell type heart pendant. Absolutely stunning. Made of 100% mohair again. He is limited to 350 pieces and actually 20 inches in size. Slightly waxed over the top of his nose, and then this beautiful curly mohair that we've used. Different types of mohair here for the face, and then the rest of the body in this kind of golden mohair colour. By the way, if you ever get a bear that has a bottom tag in it that says original by Isabelle Lee, that's actually Charlie's own sample. So if you ever get that bear, you've been very lucky. There you go, point to note. So I will give Saskia a pillow back in a minute. There she goes again. Blighton is next. Now Blighton, lovely bear, again, I'm just going to move a fluff out of her eyes a little bit. So she's a beautiful bear. She's kind of a duck egg blue and yellowy goldy colour. And she is limited to 400 pieces and only 19 inches. And again, we've used the sculpted paws. I'm just going to show you those sculpted paws because on this particular bear, it's just absolutely brilliant. So you can see the detail that goes into creating those paws is just immense. There we go. And she also wears a very, very smart ribbon around her neck. And again, with all of the Isabelle collection, she has a lovely pendant around her neck as well, with various different bits and pieces. So there we go. That's our Blighton bear. We then move on to Hughes, who I think you've already seen on QVC, but if you haven't, he is somewhere around here. Here he goes. Now, for anybody who likes Precious, this is a very similar design to Precious, with long limbs and long arms, but the idea is that she'll sit there very proud as punch on your shelf. Wears a beautiful satin oyster coloured ribbon around her neck, and around his neck, and this is a kind of a light grey and then lighter grey mohair that we wear here. And of course, Hughes holds the key to your heart, maybe. Limited to 400 pieces and actually 16 inches in height. Again, 16 inches is from the toes to the top of the head. So that is our Hughes bear. We then move on to Harper. Harper is a 16.5-inch bear. Sorry, I do forget names from time to time, but I'm not doing too badly so far. So this is Harper. He's got oodles of bells around his neck. Absolutely beautiful bear. We've done a little bit of shading over the top of the nose, and again we've got this kind of satin ribbon. Sculpted paws. This particular mohair here, for anybody who knows the Isabelle collection, we did a bear called Cappuccino long time ago in the Isabelle collection, and this is actually the same mohair that we used for Cappuccino. This isn't. This is a very different kind of mohair. I think it's even kind of touching on the Precious mohair that we used, but that's my memory. There you go. I might be completely wrong, but so that is Harper. 16.5 inches and limited to only 300 pieces. There you go. Do you want a closer look at Harper? Here we go. Let's have a little closer look at Harper. Have a look at his face. There we go. He's saying, "Come and buy me. I know I've got some big friends." There we go. So that's Harper. Okay. I'm going to show you the next three together. So this is Coleridge. He's got a slightly sparse mohair, but this is a very, very different kind of look to what we would normally do, especially on a black bear. Black bears are really very difficult to kind of get the expressions right, but on this particular bear, Coleridge, we've managed to achieve it. 17 inches, limited to 400 pieces. He is very slightly wobble jointed, but will sit nicely on his own, but his head will dip a little bit because of that. So again, if you want to sit him so that he sits straight up and looks at everybody, the best way is just to lean him back on his hands and rest his head very slightly on his shoulder, and that is our Coleridge. So I'm going to introduce you now to Enzo, who is a beautiful, I don't know how to explain this colour. It's just absolutely stunning. A fiery red colour, and actually wears a tiny little, almost like a kind of a jug type trinket around his neck. So that's Enzo, and his tatty little scarf around his neck as well. So that's our Enzo, limited to 500 pieces, 13.5 inches. So I wanted to show you these two together because if you want some ideas to how to present your bears, then personally I think that these two go brilliantly together. And then finally on that page we have, excuse me, this is Roulette. So here we go, this is Roulette, and Roulette is made of 100% alpaca. So alpaca is slightly more expensive than mohair. It's a material which can only be, it's a natural material from the alpaca goat that can only be shorn twice, well, once every 2 years. So as such is a bit more expensive. But Roulette, we called it that because of the red and black. Obviously it's black tipped over the red mohair. And then we've also, alpaca, and then we've also used the black alpaca here as well. And he also wears a beautiful kind of black ribbon. So you can now see why in the catalogue we put those three together, because they look absolutely beautiful together. So that is Coleridge, Enzo and Roulette. So that's the end of part 2 video. I'm going to move on to part 3 video very soon, so I hope you've enjoyed that part.